So let's see what you can learn from this high-level singles point to help you win more singles matches. First, let's watch the point in its entirety, and then we'll analyze it.
Right here, Willie!
I gotta love the crowd screaming. Must be really fun to have all those people reacting after every point. All right, so here we've got a lefty, right? So we've got a lefty, and notice where he's standing. He's not super close to the center mark when he's contacting this ball, right? So a lot of players, they just always stand very close to the center mark. There is a benefit to standing a little bit farther out, and as a lefty, that means on the ad side, you can serve out wide a little more. So as a right-hander, if you're right-handed, stand over here a little bit more if you're accustomed to standing here, just to help you be able to hit that out wide serve. And don't think that your opponents will always adjust. Sometimes they don't, and then the out wide serve just becomes an ace simply because of the angle that you created by standing farther out. So throw that in every once in a while, and it can absolutely help you win or hold serve more often. So he hits an out wide serve. It's not super far out wide, but he does pull the opponent over by the doubles line. Now, I'm a big fan of when you are returning serve back down the middle. I think it's super consistent. It also reduces the amount of angle that your opponent can hit on their next shot. So if the returner would hit the ball down the middle, and I'm suggesting to you that the vast majority, especially of your first serve returns, you aim down the middle, you are going to break serve absolutely more often. Now, the returner does not return down the middle. He actually returns cross court, and it's to the opponent's forehand. Now, this presents a problem. If you're this player, what you have to be afraid of is a driven ball down the line, but a sharply spun cross court ball behind you, right? So the returner is recovering, and he's not going to recover all the way to the middle. You do want to be slightly opposite your opponent to cut off, to bisect where your opponent can hit the ball. But if he returns to the middle too quickly, if the server hits behind him and wrong foots him, then the returner is going to be in a lot of trouble. So he actually has to hold off here, waiting to see what type of shot the server hits. Now, the server hits a forehand down the line, and it's a good ball, right? So it's not super deep, but it is close to the line. And that means that the returner is going to have to run a far distance to get to that ball. Now, if I were the coach of the server, I would absolutely tell him, hey, I would review this footage with him, and I say, look, if you hit a ball down the line like this and you see your opponent is in that much trouble, you need to immediately move forward. Take time away from him, right? Now, he doesn't do that, but I will give him this. Notice that he stays, when he recovers, he stays in the green. So notice the player in the red shirt, right? The player closest to us, the server. He hits the ball down the line, and at least he is staying in the green. But notice where he's going. He's moving this way because he wants the next ball to be a forehand. Now, the returner does a great job of at least getting this ball back. I love the slide, by the way. No, I'm not going to make a video on how to slide. I've had people ask that. I'm like, no. Whether it's on clay or hard court, I have no idea. I can do it a little bit, but I have no idea how to teach it. So I apologize. That topic you're going to have to watch with someone else. So notice the server, though. He's moving around this ball. He wanted this next ball to be a forehand. He's assessing it. Now, this is where great strategy comes into play. Where is the server going to hit this ball? He's not going to hit it down the middle. I can tell you that. He didn't move around this ball to make it a forehand just to hit it down the middle. So he's either going to hit the ball into the open court, which is the direction the opponent is moving, or he's going to hit the ball behind him, hoping to wrong foot him and then be able to attack. And that's actually the strategy that he chooses. What I want you to do more often in your singles matches is start hitting the ball to the same corner on consecutive shots. So notice this. He hits the ball to the left corner on the first shot, and then, I should say the first shot after the serve. And then watch. He does it again on the next shot. And look at the reaction of the opponent. So obviously, the returner is having to move back toward the center again, right? He's got to kind of bisect where the opponent can hit the ball. But he has to be moving this direction to do it. So in this guy's mind, he's like, I'm going to wrong foot him. And he ends up hitting the ball behind him. Now let's look at the feet of the returner. Look at this. Look how long it takes for him to change direction. There's nothing wrong here, by the way. And one thing to notice is this foot Notice how he steps under, right? So the closer foot to the ball doesn't step toward the ball. The foot that's closer to the ball actually steps under, and he's doing it correctly. See how he steps under? See that little move right there? I want you to look at the returner's right foot. Watch his foot step under him. What that does is it helps get his body at an angle, and I'll show you that right here. It gets his body at an angle so he can push off and move in this direction. But at this point, he is so late getting to this ball, and this guy, the server, can sense it. And that's when he starts going forward. Now, if you notice the shot that the returner hits, he's kind of got a volley grip. He's just reaching out. He's doing everything he can to get this ball back. The server senses this, sees the ball pops up. He has this little cha-cha step, this little kind of flowing split step right there. And then here is a mistake I see juniors and club tennis players make all the time. They have a floating ball that's going to barely go to the net or barely go over the net, and they tend to stay back, but not this guy. Watch how he immediately attacks and goes forward. He's really trying to do three things here. He's trying to rob the opponent of time, right, to get back over and center himself. He's trying to get the ball above net level, and he's trying to do it from a closer point to the net. And all three of those things combine to be able to hit an angle off the court. Really important, by the way, that when you are this close to the net, that you make the ball leave the court using the sidelines. You do not want your ball to leave the court using the baseline, because then it's too close and the opponent can get to it. So when you get close to the net, and by the way, when you're 3 feet from the net, this is a Vic Bradenism, when you're 3 feet from the net, you have 130 degrees of potential angle to hit away from your opponent. Compare that when you're back at the baseline and you only have 19.6 degrees of potential angle from corner to corner to the center mark. So when you're close to the net, use that angle to your advantage. And last, when you are this close, you have to be very sure that you do not touch the net. Because if you touch the net before the ball bounces a second time, you actually lose the point. So once the ball, and you can see it right there, once the ball bounces a second time, then the point's over. Then you're allowed to run into the net. But you're not allowed to touch the net while the point is still going. So let's watch this point one more time, and then we'll diagram it on the big board.
Right here, Willie!
Now, the tactic we just watched is called the 2-1 strategy. It's hitting 2 shots into one corner to open up the opposite corner for the third shot. Now, you can't just use one strategy. It wouldn't be great if there was a whole book of strategies to beat all of your opponents, no matter their playing style. Well, there is. That's why you got to pick up the Singles Playbook by Fuzzy Yellow Balls. My buddy Will Hamilton sent me this thing. It's play after play, over 50 pages of plays that you can run to beat your opponents, whether they're a pusher, a serve and volley, or an all-court player, a counter puncher. It doesn't matter the style of play, how to beat a lefty. It's all in here, and you learn this from the top players in the world. Just use my link in the description and pinned in the first comment. Now, it's great to have those strategies, but you also want to make sure that you are playing against new people in your local area, which is why you should also use my link in the description and the first comment. playyourcourt.com/2minute tennis. Find people to compete against, singles, doubles, practice with, and even find coaches who can help you with your singles game. Again, use my link and you get 50% off when you join. So simple. When you are playing, don't just think, oh, I'm going to hit the ball into the open court, right? What happens is when you do this, you're always hitting the ball the direction your opponent's running, right? If you're going to hit here, they're moving this direction. So they get to that ball. Then the ball comes back. Oh, you're going to go here. Well, guess what? They were already moving that direction to get more to the center. So then they get to that ball. Start hitting 2 shots into the same corner. That wrong foots them, gets them to hit a very weak ball. And the moment you hit that second shot, if you start coming in and you rob them of the time to then recover, you can then hit the third shot into the open court. Start using the 2-1 strategy. Hit 2 shots consecutively to the same corner and watch how this completely changes your singles. You do this, there's no doubt you're going to gain confidence, win more matches, and play much better tennis. This is Ryan Reedy from 2minutetennis.net. You got this.